All right, guys, Jake here at the Year of the Mustang project. We are ramping up. We are 2 weeks out from our leave dates. We're doing lots of practicing, lots of getting ready. For those of you who somehow don't know yet what the Year of the Mustang is, it is a over 7,000-mile journey across the United States that I'm taking with my 3 horses, Bella here, and then Denver and Eddy. And we are going to travel across 30 states in the period of 1 year. It started out just as a little dream when I was 16, something I wanted to do with my friends. We wanted to cross the state of Utah, and we never did that. And for me, I just kind of kept expanding and expanding that route. And by the time I was 18, I had a pretty solid idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to cross as many states as I could within a year's time. And I want to have that experience for myself, seeing the country from horseback. But for me, it really comes down to my horses. All 3 of my horses are Mustangs. They were all born in the desert. Mustang is more of a slang term that we use for the wild horses that roam here in the western states. A great number are in government captivity through the Bureau of Land Management, and they're available for adoption. So in one way or another, through that adoption process, I've collected my horses over time. Bella here was given to me when I was 15 by my boss, and she's really the horse that taught me. She's really my biggest teacher when it comes to the horses I've ridden over the years. When I got her, she had a couple months of work on her, but she was still pretty green and I was green, and we both kind of went learning together. My next horse, Denver, is the youngest. Just over a year ago, he was a wild horse. He was part of a 100-day competition. He was started by my friend Clay King, who did a phenomenal job with him, and I adopted him in that same competition we were in, which is called the Impact of the Horse. I went working with him from there and have been working with him for the last year and building up his skills. Then a number of months ago, I purchased Eddy. He's a 12-year-old gelding. He'd been owned a couple of times prior to me having him. So he's had quite a bit of experiences of his own there with other trainers, but me and him are coming along real nice in our relationship and in our partnership and how we're working together. At one point or another, though, all 3 of these horses came from a herd management area. Bella here was born on the Diamond Complex in Nevada. Denver was born on the Owyhee Complex in Nevada. And Eddy was born in the Bordo Atravesado in New Mexico. They're all what we would consider Mustangs by today's terms. Now, the reason I've chosen Mustangs as my horses for this trip is because there's no breeder like natural selection. Their natural capabilities that they're born with make them the ideal horses for this trip. They are completely accustomed to travel 25 plus miles a day in search of food and water in the environments that they live in. They live their entire lives on very low nutrient feed, which makes them really good at making the most of the forage that's out there on the plains and in the mountains that we're going to be living off of. They're naturally extremely hardy in both cold and hot weather. My greatest experiences over the years have been in training these horses. I've done a number of Mustangs from wild to rideable and workable. And those have been some of the most incredible experiences of my life, working with these horses, the things that they have taught me, and I've become a better horse trainer because of them. It's something I wish more people could experience, especially more horse people, that they could see the quality that these horses possess, both in mind and in body and just who they are. So my intention is to be an advocate for the adoption process that the Bureau of Land Management has and show people that these horses absolutely are worth adopting. They're very trainable and that they are incredible partners in the horse world. What better way to showcase that than on a journey like this? A journey of over 7,000 miles through every terrain and environment that you can imagine. My horses are what's going to carry me through all of that, and I've got to work with them to be able to overcome the trials that we're going to face. That has been years of preparation for me personally as a horseman to be prepared to take something like this on. I started here as a working student when I was 14 years old, and I worked in trade for my lessons. I worked in trade for my education, and I went working my way up to where I was teaching kids, and then I was teaching adults how to ride, and then I was taking on problem horses and colts for the public, and I just went on working my way up, and that's my education. I've worked with clinicians in dressage. I've worked with clinicians in the buckaroo tradition like Martin Black, and I've been coached for years by Jim Hicks and Donette Hicks. And I say this because I want to show people that my confidence in horses isn't rooted in nothing. Another aspect of this trip is taking care of their feet. I started apprenticing as a horseshoer when I was 16 in the summers, and then I went to school to become a horseshoer in 2021. I graduated from Idaho Horseshoeing School. From there, I started my own business as a horseshoer. That adds to the preparation of this trip as well. As far as packing goes, this will obviously be the biggest thing I've ever done. I've been gaining experience over the last year in working with the packs and working with gear and learning how to pack horses with the Decker saddles. This is what we're going to be using here is the Decker pack saddle, and I'll mostly be working with what's called a box hitch and also with a walker hitch here and there, depending on what we're doing. This is how I'm going to pack everything I need for the next year. This is how I'm going to carry it all with me is on the backs of my horses between these panniers and saddlebags, and that's how we're going to survive as we go along this journey. There is so much that goes into a trip like this, and that's why it has taken years of preparation to even be able to think that I could attempt something like this. There are so many different boxes that need to be checked, from training the horses to establishing the route to learning the navigation, obtaining the gear, not to mention all the skills that go into this as well, like the camping skills, the emergency skills, being able to shoe horses, all these things that are necessary to take on a pack trip of this length alone. This is not something that someone can just wake up one day and decide they want to do. This is a trip that takes an incredible amount of planning. It has taken so much, but at the end of the day, I also can't prepare for everything. There are so many unknowns. There's so many things I can't plan for. At some point, you do just have to stop worrying and make the dive. You have to have the courage to just take that step. I think the biggest thing for me is my relationship with my horses. If I have that confidence in my horses and my horses have that confidence in me, then we can overcome whatever it is that I am not prepared for right now, but we're gonna go face anyways. I guess that's kind of the cowboy spirit of this journey that I want to carry with me, and hope to grow more of as I go. I know that through this, my 3 horses are going to show the world that Mustangs absolutely are worth adopting, that they absolutely have a place in many different disciplines in horsemanship. Everyone's going to know it by the end of this year.